Hi, everyone. As I mentioned earlier, if I'm starting to sound robotic, please let me know as soon as possible. If you have any questions, stop me, and then we'll go from there. So you should be able to see the screen. If not, obviously tell me. And then we are going back to the basics. Again, this is part 2 of our very, very basic lesson on ontologies and how to work with them. This is in the chat, the link to the notes for the lessons. So we started last week. Let's go quickly. Last week, we learned how to clone a repository into your machine, how to open the ontology in Protégé, and we took a look around Protégé, looked at all the different options that that we had. What did we do? We ended up very quickly, so we'll review that quickly, how to make changes and how to push that into GitHub and create a PR. So we will look at creating a PR again just now, because we went very quickly last week. And again, we're going, to the very, very basics. So before going and, starting with the lesson, is there anybody who reviewed not last week, 2 weeks ago lesson, or have any questions or anything about what we discussed, or anything you tried on your own and did not work for whatever reason? Okay, I don't hear anything, so I'm assuming everything is good. Again, please stop me if you have any questions, and put in the chat. Somebody will see it and let me know. Okay, so let's look at an example. This is where I'm just picking up where we left it last time. So this is an issue that it's a fake issue. It's not a fake, it's a real issue, but this is really just for an exercise. So the description hopefully would be much better than what you see here. And so what we want to do here is add an axiom to some terms. So this is the issue we want to work on. If you remember, you open your GitHub desktop. You are welcome to follow either, going back one step, you're welcome to follow either using Mondo, which is what I'm going to use right now, but you can use pretty much any ontologies. As I mentioned last time, you really cannot do anything wrong, because there's so many checks in place that if something is wrong, you will know and you will not break everything. So don't feel threatened by anything. Okay, so we want to make a change in Mondo. We want to add an axiom. So we open the GitHub desktop. Remember, we want to make a copy. We want to go back to master. So master is the way everything is. Like, this is the latest version of the ontology and everything surrounding the ontology. And I'm being very, very general here, but that's good for here. So here, current branch, go back to master, fetch origin. So we're getting the latest update of the ontology. And then first thing we do is create a new branch, so that we can do our changes, and the changes will stay compact in one specific place. So let's call it issue 5549, and let's say B, because I already have one here. So if you take a look, let me go back here. When you type here, all the branches that exist are available, and we will see in a moment why it is important. So if you need to go back to any other branches that exist, you can, because you just need to type the name here. Here we want a new one here. There's no branch that exists, so create new branch, or here new branch. Of course, you know, they ask you to make sure, yes, I want to create a new branch. And so now you are ready to make your changes. I already opened Protege. If you remember, Protege can take a long time to open. So hopefully we're not going to have a lot of those issues today, because hopefully I opened everything we need, but you know, hang with me. And we know we are on a branch because here in the corner, it tells you get issue 5539. So I know I am looking at the ontology in the branch that I created. So we have gone through Protege last time, so we know where it is. Let's make a change to this term called avian leukocytosis. Okay, slow, I told you. So let's open this one. And you see it is here in the ontology. Again, I'm sorry for the size. I don't know how to make it bigger. So hopefully come closer to your screen if you need, if it's you cannot see it correctly. If you remember here, reasoner, let's start the reasoner. We chose elk, see here. Let's start the reasoner. So what it does, it's going to look at all the axioms that we have, that each term has, and then create those automatic classifications. It's, you know, I make it does a little bit more than that, but for this purpose, that is good. And then I like to go on the inferred view. Okay, here we are. It's yellow. We know it's inferred, and so I can see better all the new classification, the classification that this term has. This particular one doesn't have any new classification, but if we look at other examples, like the one we saw last week, and like we will see in a moment, then you could have some different classifications. Okay, so what we wanted to do with this one is, here it says it's a viral disease. So I want to say that this is, I want to ask an equivalent class saying, a subclass of, sorry, saying that this term is a viral disease. So the way we do that, every time you want to add something in Protege, it's those big plus buttons, it's add. So here on this part of the screen, I think we went very quickly last time, so I'm going to repeat this here. All those on this part of the screen, this is the equivalent axiom and subclass axiom. Those little big crosses plus is to add something. This part of the screen here, it's to add annotations. Same thing, you have a little plus to say add. If you look at all this button next to each here axiom or annotations here, they all mean the same. The little round is to edit, the cross on the other side is to remove, and then this little add sign is if you want to add an annotation to what you already have. So I'm not going to go into details. I will just do it as we go, but if you cannot find, and if you cannot find the correct button, just ask. Okay, so we want to say that this this disease is a viral disease. So we're going to click here, plus it will open a window. And then here we want to use class expression editor. So we will say this disease is a viral disease. In Protégé, I would say in general, but in Protégé, definitely, if your term is more than one word, then you need to have this sign to, it's like a, what do you call that? I don't know, like this sign, in order to make sure that Protégé will look at the entire term and not just the one word. So if you start typing, you can see here the window is still red. It means that your class is not correct. So you cannot save it because you wrote something wrong. Also, so what I clicked on tab, and this is going to give me auto suggestion with all the terms that we have in the ontology. So I will look for viral, and here I have viral disease or post-viral disorder. This is what I wanted. So I double click on it, and it selected it all. And you can see here, I have those two little sign on each side of the term. The window here is not red anymore, so I can save it. And okay, I save it. It is here. For equivalent, I'll show you, but really, this is a wrong, this is a wrong expression that I'm going to show. It's not wrong expression, it's wrong for this term. But we could say, for example, if I wanted to say it's a disease or disorder, and has what is it? Has infectious agent, I think. Let's say has input just because it's here. Some whatever. Some I should have thought about this. Some whatever. Let's pick this. Very bad. Don't look at this. But what I wanted to show you is that you can write your classes, your equivalent, using the and the sum. We should know how to do. If you don't understand, we can definitely have a lesson about it. I think that we already have a lesson, but and as you have seen, all along the way, you know when you have an expression that is valid or not, because it tells you with the color red here around the point. So cancel. Okay. It's very slow. Okay. So we added this. We are happy with it. We'll save. And again, it takes a little bit of time, and depending on how many windows you have open, that takes even longer. And we'll look at the changes that we made. Here, this is GitHub Desktop. It tells you that this is the new thing that I added. It's in green. And we added this the subclass of. Also, remember, you can look at it. So I'm looking at the little wheel here. You can look at your diff either in one run together, or you can split it. So having on the left what is in the original file, and on the right what you change. It's really whatever your preference is. I like this view. Okay, so we see the changes we made. Now we're gonna basically package those changes and then push them to Protégé. So we need a title for this PR. Try to write your title as precise as possible, but then also that it's only a title, so you cannot put so much. So I would say edit subclass of 2, whatever that term was, avian leukosis. And then it's always good to refer to the issue that you were working on, because then all the work that is done is documented. So if you remember from the last time, and it's also in the documentation, we could use the word address, the hashtag, and then the name, the number of your issue. So 5549. This is not a 5549, and it tells you also which one it is. So that's good. If you use closes or fixes, then once this PR will be accepted and merged, then it will automatically close your issue. So you have ways to make your life a little bit easier. You can also add some comments here. I don't know, like I couldn't find any more evidence or question, like anything you want, you can add it to here. So we're happy with all of that. Let's click on commit, and then this changes and it tells you publish your branch. You click on that and you can see here it is pushing to origin. So what it does, again, it's basically packaging all your changes and then pushing it to the repository, where you can now here create a pull request. It is opening it here. And then this is basically everything you have done here. So the title, the reference to the GitHub issue, and then click here, create a pull request, and then yes. And then it's basically triggering a few things. So I think for pretty much all ontologies, it's gonna trigger some QC checks to make sure that you didn't do anything wrong. If you did anything wrong, let's say you created a term that has the same name as another one, or there's a problem, you created a term and then it has it created some issue with the reasoning. These QC will catch it, and then everything will be red, and you're gonna have to go and fix it. So again, stop me if you have any questions. So here is doing the QC checks. Let's look at it here on the side. What do we have? You can assign somebody to look at your PR. You also have reviewer. So here, Nicole is always automatically assigned as a reviewer for the Mondo PRs. But you can add whoever you want here. Just click on reviewer, add whoever you want, and depending on the project you're working on, you might have specific people, or sometimes people have a ontology buddy, so they're working in closely with another person, and they review each other's PR. So long story short, every PR should be reviewed by somebody, and then this person will do their review, as I'm going to show you in a moment. So this is your PR. Let's walk around here. It's open. It means like it means that it is still being worked on, and it hasn't been accepted yet, and therefore it hasn't been pushed to the main to master. I'm not going to go through all of these here, but if you look at file changed, this is basically okay. This is basically the changes that were made by you or by whoever created that PR. So in this case, here in green, this is what we added. This is exactly what we expected. So the reviewer will come here, will look at the file change. I should not click on everything. My computer is slow. And then we'll just review all the changes that you made. Here is just one. It's fast, but sometimes it can be much bigger, right? And then they will look at it, and here we have the example. Nicole looked at it using here, and then she added a comment and started a review and added something like, you forgot something here. Please, you need to add it. And so you can see it here. You can see also on your main page where you have, I think this little I means review, I don't know. But basically, I need to go back and change that. Also, just a quick look, see here, all the check has passed. So we have the checks are good, but here we need a review, that a positive review before we can do anything. Okay, so
Sabrina?
Yes.
So what's the difference between assigning someone to review the ticket versus listing them as assigned to the ticket?
It could means different things. Reviewer, it means that you can that you're ready for somebody to look at your PR. One thing we can do, and I'll show it here. Let's say you're working on something bigger, like you're adding a lot of terms and changing things, and you're not necessarily ready for somebody to look at it, but you're still working on it. So you could change your PR to convert to draft, which basically says, I'm not ready for review. Let me finish it. But I would really like Nicole to help me and look at what I'm doing so that we can work on this. Then you could say, assign Nicole here to take a look at this PR. I think if you assigning people, and please somebody jump in, I think assigning people means I really need you to take a look, and now it's kind of like the assignee responsibility to take a look and do whatever is needed, whether it's a review or giving some feedback. Reviewers is really, I am ready for somebody to look at the PR and accept it or reject it.
Yeah, so I would just also emphasize, like, you are spot on here, Sabrina. I want to emphasize we make a lot of use, in particular in complex projects like Uberon, we make a lot of use of the distinction between assignee and reviewer. So the assignee, if I forgot how to pronounce it in English now, assignee, I guess, it's this person is the person that is responsible for merging the pull request, for finalizing the pull request and getting it accepted, getting it reviewed. So it indicates, putting an assignee indicates that this person, and not some miraculous third-party member of some committee, is responsible for the PR. but this particular person is responsible for the PR and getting it to completion. It doesn't mean at all that they need to review anything. It just means that they are responsible for getting this PR in the project, and the reviewers are responsible for providing review feedback. And this is super important distinction in open science in general, because you have like various people coming from the outside that go and make pull requests, and there is no automatic system that would say, someone will take charge of this PR and will deal with it and merge it in or something like that. This needs to be dealt with through standard operating procedures, which should be defined by these complex projects where they say, okay, everyone that is, for example, talking about, like, let's say if it's like an Obo Foundry, you would say if someone is making a metadata request, the metadata responsible person will be assigned to the PR to bring it to completion. So that's kind of, and I think it's a very good thing for all of the people that work on open science issues to distinguish these two things, because unassigned issues accumulate. We have sometimes 20, 30, 40 pull requests in Uberon not assigned to anyone, which means they will never be merged. So that's why it's so important to have them.
Yeah, and also one thing to keep in mind is, depending on the project on which you work, there might be like rules or SOP that are different from one thing to another. So it's always good to know, what the expectations are, and also it's always good to take a look at what is assigned to you, either it's an issue or a PR, and I really rely on email, and I know I shouldn't, because then I miss things, but yeah, be aware of that. Did it answer your question? Else, Alison, yes. So as perfect. So I said very quickly, but a few things I want to point out is that if you're working on something big and you're not ready for anybody to look at it, you can change your PR to draft. There was here a button, let me see on the other one here, convert to draft. So this basically says to everybody, don't even look at it until I tell you I am ready for you, because I'm making changes, and it would be a waste of time to start telling me it's not ready. So you can make those changes and you can see here that there is this little button here that says it's a draft. And then when you are ready to change, when you're ready for those review, you can change it to ready for review. And I think this is just this. Let's see. Yes. So you can see here it changed. It's opened, and then we're ready. We're ready to go on. Okay. Oh, one thing I wanted to show you is this is the original issues. Remember, we said let's work on this issue. Here on your issue tracker, we also have all the PR that were created, that were either addressing or closing or every time a PR is referring to an issue, the issue gets a little note here, so that there is a record of all the work that was done for each issue. So for small issues, maybe add something might not be of super importance, but it's very useful when you need to go back and see what was happening. So this is also why it's very important to refer to the original issue when you create a PR, so that we have that connection between the PR and the issue. Okay, so remember 5 minutes ago when when I told you that we created something, Nicole reviewed it. She said, "Oh, actually, you missed this. Then how do we how do we go about it? So if you remember how I explained in my very weird way that GitHub is basically you put all these changes in little packages, and then you use the PR and the GitHub desktop to go from a version of the ontology where those changes, and you take them back and forth. So the way to do that is so what we want to do is we want to go back to this PR and get all the things that I did and changed, and then make changes to those, because here I forgot to add a source. So we go back to Mondo, to our repository. Here, we are going to search for this here, this branch. So issue 5549, here we are. We click on it. I think you can copy it here. I never do, but I think this is a copy, so you can just copy it. And then you fetch it. So what it does, it's going to go and take whatever changes we have on this branch and bring it to your machine. Okay, it did that. And then you have to open the ontology again. Here, you don't see it because the changes are basically the same, but often the ontology has changed behind the scene. And therefore it will ask you, do you want to reopen it? Long story short, don't reload, don't reload the ontology, always reopen. And here, open it here, and it's just reopen it because otherwise you need to, by reopening everything, it means like all the changes and all the what do you call it, like all the files that you need are going to be reloaded instead of using what was already there, which might have changed. I'm sure that's really like so do I want to open in the current window? No. So it's going to open in the meantime, blah, blah, blah. So let's get rid of this one. And as I told you, it can take a little bit of time to load. So what it's doing, it's opening the version of the ontology that I pulled on the machine, which is this branch. We can do it. Okay, here we are. So we're gonna look for this term because we know that this is what we're looking for. And okay, here we are. And then here, this is what we added. And Nicole said, oh, you forgot a source annotation. So here, I am going to open here annotation. We have the little window opening, and I'm going to add an annotations. Here is all the annotation properties that you can use. There's a whole lesson about it. So we can go through that lesson again another time if needed. I think all those lessons are recorded. So and this also like notes. So feel free to review that and then ask us a question if you have. So we will pick source, and here let's say the source is PMID. It's probably not a real PMID, but you get the gist. So okay. This is what we wanted, save, or you can also use the control save or whatever. It is saving. You don't see the part that says, you know, it is saving. And here in my GitHub desktop, you can see that basically it removed what was there and re-added it with the PMID here. I am not going to do that, but let's say that what you see here is not good, or sometimes it's very like, you just tried something, it went horribly bad. You can go here, click right, and you can discard all the changes that you have done. Sometimes it's useful. I use that very, very often, especially when I want to test things. So just know that this is an option. Also, we saw last time that you could go here into history and then see all the commit that you did, and then you can right click and revert change commit. I am not going to do it here, but these are also possibilities in case something bad happened or you did something wrong. And so here I will just say added source, and then adjust commit. You can add more details, especially if it's something more specific. This is going to send it directly back to that PR, so you don't have to refer again to the issue. If you have more than one issue on the same PR, you might want to add that. So it's really when you do things is when you will see what is needed. So here, I don't think I saw you here. It says push origin, so it gives you one. So it means this one change that you are gonna submit, and you can click here, push origin, or here, push origin. So it is pushing, hang on. And then if you come back here to our original PR, you can see here that I added source. So I think if you click on it, it shows you what you just did. So yeah, it shows you what you did. And here I can tell Nicole it's done. If I spell it correctly, that's even better. Done, and I can add a comment, and then if I feel like this is the review is good, I addressed everything that was asked of me. I'll click resolve conversation, and so this is a sign that I have looked through the review that was given to me, and I have made the changes that were required of me. And so same process is going to happen. Nicole is going to look at it, and then if everything is good, she's going to say all is good, you can merge. If there's still some issues, she's going to make more comments, and then we'll go back, we'll iterate as many times as needed. Okay. Is there any questions here? I'm going in very, very details, because it's a very basic, and I want to make sure that all these little things are things that everybody understand or know where to go. But okay. Now I will go, let's see the time. Okay, so I will go through another example, like very, very quick, about adding a new term. Most of it is similar, but there's a few things you need to be aware of. So I'll do that very quickly, and then hopefully we'll have a little bit of time just for me to tell you about robot and DustTP. We're not going to go any further than just telling you it exists. So, and if I'm going a bit too fast and like just tell me to slow down, and I'll slow down. So let's do a quick create a term. We go back to Mondo, to the GitHub desktop. Remember, go back to master, fetch origin. So it's taking the latest version of Mondo here, exactly what I was telling you earlier. This ontology here, that this ontology version that I previously had, and I made changes, has changed because now we have master on our machine. Do you want to reload? You say no, but you can open a new window with Mondo. No, thank you, not the current window. It's going to be opening in the background. So let's create a new branch. Remember, if you forgot to create a new branch, it's not a big deal because we can create one later. And actually, let's do that. So I can show you. I can show you, like, every time, like when I started working, I was always like, oh, I forgot, crap. That's fine. Everything is okay. There's always an option. Okay. What are we doing here, Protege? It's still opening. So what we're gonna do whenever it opens. Okay. So when you create a new term, you also creating a new term means a new ID. So in order for us to be able to create a new ID, you need to have basically the credential to create new terms and new ID for your ontology. And this is really part of the same of your group, I would say. So there's several things that happen. So we all know ontologies terms have IDs that have, in this case, is let's see, what am I doing here? I'm going to open a term. Okay, this one. So, and you can see here, like the ID here is Mondo : numbers, 7 of them. Every ontology has their own prefix, probably the same number of numbers, and it has this IRI. And so what we need to make sure is that when you create a new term, you also need to create a new ID, and we don't just invent ID. That should make sense to all of us in this field. So first of all, in most of the project, the first thing to do is to get an ID range. And this is basically going to say, you as a curator can use the ID that are from number this amount to number this amount. So here, if I find myself here, I have in this file something that says Sabrina can use all this Mondo IDs from 07 blah 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 until 79999. That's a lot of terms. So this information lives in the ontology repository. It has ID ranges.out. If you know what you're doing, you can probably update this file and just take the next numbers, because somebody will anyway check for you. But really, I think if this is something you need, probably talk to the people with whom you're working on the ontology project, so that you're sure that everything is fine. So basically, long story short, you need to have an ID range so that you know what number you can use for your new terms. And then, so everything is detailed here. You need to tell Protege, this is when I add terms, this is the name, this is me, this is all the things you need to use, this is the range I am using. So this lives in preferences. Again, more details in the documentations, but it tells you here. So we opened preferences. In new entity, it tells you this is how the new ID or the new IRI should be created. it should be created automatically. And for this ontology, it should be Mondo underscore. And then here I told Protege this is the range that I am using. So if we look at Nicole's preferences, which I think is what is in the documentation, she would have something different here. And I'm sorry, Nicole, I realize I pick on you, but you are my model. So if you're working not on Mondo, but let's say on Uberon, then you probably would have Uberon here. Okay, new entity, then go here. It's another thing we need to update, making sure that your name and your ORCID is correct, and adding the metadata to the new entity so that the new entity gets, you know, this creator here. Okay, I'm going a little bit fast on this. Okay, something is thinking. Hopefully that's
Sabrina, while
yes.
that's thinking, when you set your preferences the first time for a certain ontology, so it automatically saves it, but then say you're loading a different ontology into Protege, will it automatically open the preferences that you want for that, or you have to check it every time if you change ontologies?
I think you have to change every time you change ontology. Is that correct, Nicole and Nico? I think it is, because
what was the question again?
When you open a different ontology, do you need to update your preference so that it uses, let's say if I open Uberon and I make a new term, do I have to update the,
You do, yeah, unfortunately. I think maybe they have something in the new version. Damien, you know, in the new version, I think they have something in place where it's more seamless to switch between ontologies and preferences.
Yes, the next version of Protege will make it so that it will no longer be necessary to manually update the preferences when you switch from one ontology to the next, as long as the ontology is using a range file, which, as far as I know, is the case for almost all ontologies. Protege will automatically detect the range file and either automatically choose the correct range depending on your username, or it will shows you a window where you can just pick up your range and it will automatically update all the parameters.
that's great to know.
Super cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
awesome. We're excited.
Let's go very quick on this. I'm running the reasoner behind. I like having the reasoner all the time, just because it helps me figure out if I'm doing something right or not. So we're creating a new term here. When you create a new term, you have to be in the asserted version. Here's the inferred version, and I'll show you that you cannot do anything wrong, because these are the buttons here that you want to use: add a subclass or add sibling class. So sibling would be at the same level as this one, and subclass S would be a child of this. And if I click on it, nothing happens. So, you know, it's a reminder you need to go and assert it class. Here, let's create one very quickly. So I will call it feline leukemia due to viral infection. It's an actual real disease. So I am not making too much ridiculous things here. But then you can see that when I created a class here, automatically it gives me a new ID that is the next number in my range. So, okay, you can see it's here. It's created as a subclass of feline leukemia. You can see it here, subclass of feline leukemia. I can add an annotations. The label was directly updated, created when I created my my term, and this created by me was also automatically created because this is what we have in our preferences. Things you always should add as a definition. So add it here. It opens something. And then you have to find definition here. Wherever it is. Oh, here it is. And so, you know, whatever, copy paste, I prepared. So we have a definition. Let's add an equivalent to. Here it is. And something is wrong. See, it's all red, and I don't know why, what the issue is here. I'm gonna have to. Oh, I know why. Because Google Doc always make this. Anyways, you can add your, no, I'm sorry, I changed my mind. I want you to see that because tab, so leukemia, feline, and disease has infectious agent. And you'll see in a minute why I really want to show you that. Some, and then let's say feline. I'm sorry, this is taking sometimes here. Okay, we good. So I added this. We go back to reasoner and synchronize reasoner. So it's gonna do its things and then look at what is, you know, where else it could be classified, and see here, this term was automatically classified as an infectious disease because I have this part in the ontology. In my term, I say this term is leukemia and has infectious agent, and infectious disease is defined as any disease or disorder that has an infectious agent that is something. So let's say I am happy with what I did. Same thing. Oh, one more thing. You can go back here if you want to go back to your previous term. One thing that is very useful to add is adding the issue tracker, so that especially when you do a lot of changes, so somebody who looks at the ontology and feels like, you know, that's a weird term to have. Why did you create that term? It is good to refer to the GitHub issue. So term tracker item, and then let's just take the the GitHub tracker, and then we have to use any URI. And I'm saying that because I think it's what was accepted by all the obo-ontologies. And then, okay, we're happy, save. We have, oh, that's the last part I am going to show you. It is saving. And then here, it's good. And then, oops, I did everything on master. I cannot push from master. So I'm just going to say issue, whatever, 1, 2, making numbers here. create a new branch. Yes, I want to create a new branch. And then it tells you, what do you want to do with your issue, with your changes? And then I say, bring all the changes to this new branch, switch branch, crisis averted. I didn't push the changes to master. And then we can go on, blah, 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 what we saw before. So first thing to do is create your new branch. But if you forget, you still have a chance to move it. So it's all good. We have only 2 minutes, so I am not going to talk about robot even and DustTP even at a very high level. But I think that was important to show, you know, that there's options if you forgot to do something. So any questions? We have 2 minutes, or maybe 1.5. All right, so this is where you can find words for all the things I said. The recordings will be available at one point. The section here about robot and DustTP is under development, and I didn't get a chance to wherever that is. I didn't get a chance to add something, but if you feel like it would be good to have, let's say, part 3 and have like a very high level of what DustTP and robot are, we can do that. We can also rerun that whole lesson if this is helpful, whatever, you know, like quality was more important than quantity here, but
Thank you so much, Serena. That was super good.